When Aina is walking through a group of burning desks in the schoolyard, a strange girl who looks like her buddy, Jaiwan, suddenly attacks her. Aina is besieged by ghosts as others start to materialize around, but just as she thinks she's going to pass out, she wakes up in her bed at the school dorms. Since this is the final week for exams, there is tension throughout the entire school. Aina is less patient than normal with the trust fund kids because they receive special treatment at school simply because they are wealthy, but she can at least somewhat unwind when she spends time with her best buddy Yoon and the school bully Hyun, who is smitten with her. The teachers are also tense. Choi hasn't grinned in a very long time, and Wang is constantly reprimanding Lee for being too tough with the pupils. Byum keeps hearing whispers in the exam room and cries out loud when he sees a spooky face on his test, which causes him to tumble off his chair. Even though Wang insists that it was her and that he didn't do it, he does see the unsettling scars on Byum's wrist when he checks on him and finds nothing on the paper. A humorous song begins playing from the speakers a little while later. The teachers find this is one of Hyun's pranks and order him to return to school over the weekend to assist the teachers with certain tasks as punishment, even though they won't allow the test to be disrupted. The principal meets with the teachers in the afternoon and lets them know that in 10 days, pupils from their sister school would be visiting them. In order to begin instructing them this weekend, he wants them to form a temporary class out of their best students. Aina and Yoon find out they'll be in the special weekend class when the test results are posted the following day, which is a big deal because the top 3 spots are typically taken by wealthy children. Byum observes the eerie girl from iDreams, neighs in the middle of the crowd when he comes over to get his own grades and starts to feel dizzy. A little while later, the scary girl's visage merges with Nei's, prompting Byum to attack the latter. As the nurses haul him away, Byum yells at everyone to tell them they're going to die soon. Other students quickly pull him away, and an ambulance is summoned to transport him to a mental hospital. Guard Kim hears a commotion coming from under the building floor as he is going about his routine duties in the evening. It is Byum, who has escaped the mental hospital and arrived at the school with his hands covered in blood. He's clearly frightened and keeps staring at something, but Kim doesn't know what. Byum sees a complete view of a decomposing body when the guard moves his flashlight to have a better look, and he flees while screaming. The following Saturday's special class starts with the teachers ordering student song to gather everyone's cell phones because phones are not permitted on this particular day. Hyun has also arrived to begin working on his punishment. Wang observes a girl named Min is absent when the class starts, but he figures she will be late and goes forward with the course. Song hears a strange voice calling his name as he is en route to bring the phones to the staff area. He goes to the bathroom after hearing the voice, before dragging him by the ankle through the ceiling and beneath a stall door, only to be horrified to see an enemy there, an unnoticed power that severely injures him. When Choi returns to the classroom, she starts her lesson by playing an instructive movie, but it is suddenly cut short by a horrifying scene. An equation is written on the side of the glass container in which Min is imprisoned. Choi tries to turn it off but is unsuccessful, so he doesn't take it seriously yet and sends Aina to the staff room to investigate. Aina sees the same thing on every screen in the corridor as she sprints there, and once she enters the staff room, she learns the internet has abruptly stopped working. Then, a spooky voice from the TVs announces that everyone will be taking a new type of test and that students will perish if they don't complete the tasks. Every question must be addressed in order to receive the complete answer, and if anyone leaves the campus, they will also perish. Both teachers and students are perplexed and unsure of how to interpret this. Even worse, Kim enters to confirm that all phone lines have been disconnected. The professors find their cell phone to be damaged and none of the students are carrying their phones, while Aina and the teachers join the other students in the classroom, where everyone is shouting because the glass container Min is in has started to fill with water. Kim is assigned to keep a watch on the outside area. Lee confronts Hyun because he thinks it might be a hoax, and Wang has to separate them to prevent a fight from breaking out. The teachers start arguing, and this diverts everyone's attention to the point where they forget the equation until it is too late, and Min drowns as soon as the container is filled with water. Lee is persuaded Hyun didn't commit this after witnessing an actual death, and he makes the decision to cross the street in search of a phone. The students choose to follow Lee instead of listening to Choi's warnings about the rule, but as soon as they arrive at the reception, they realize the rule had actually been true. The voice warns them to remain inside as Lee returns drenched in blood and passes away as soon as he crosses the door. Byum, meantime, has also managed to enter the structure and is now wandering around, pausing only to scribble in a notebook when he hears additional noises. The eerie voice then announces that everyone's next exercise will involve an audio hint, Payne's song, so that he screams into the microphone, and forces him to admit that his sin is having a selfish mother. The speaker then informs them that the exercise is located in the auditorium and requires them to construct a phrase connected to greed using the words that are waiting for them on the ground. Aina and Wang finally come up with a suitable statement after much deliberation, but they are too late, and Song's body is dumped in the middle of the auditorium with his face covered in the candle wax the evil guy used to harm him, and the solution to the riddle inscribed on their chests by scars. Aina gets an idea that causes her to leave the theater on top of the fact that Cha is now also Eidoiwo. Following her, Hyun discovers her examining the rankings of the pupils, which supports her idea that they are being assassinated in line of rating. First and second place went to Min and Song, and third place goes to the absent Cha. Aina herself will come in fifth, with Yoon coming in fourth. The wealthy students plan to sneak into their rooms in the auditorium because they believe it would be safer. Yoon overhears this and decides to join them. They convince Hwang to let them leave the auditorium by saying they have to use the restroom, and they quickly make their way to the dorms without realizing Byum can hear them sprinting through the corridors. Aina and Hyun make their way back to the auditorium at that same moment, where they inform the professors of their discoveries and advise them to find Yoon as quickly as possible in order to protect her. In the end, they divide the class into two groups, with Choi leading one and Wang leading the other. When night falls, Cha has been gone for 6 hours with no sign of a search update. The dorm door where the escaping group is hiding is suddenly shaking, and some weird force punches a hole in the wood, grabs a student by the hair and pulls him through, killing him instantly. The next task is to decrypt a password to use on the computer on the desk by looking at the graphics on the board, which Wang's group learns when they go to investigate a light that has been turned on in a random classroom. Choi's group notices lights flickering at a dorm window as they get to work and goes there to find the kids frightened in the hallway. Everyone is screaming and grabbing at one another, not knowing what's going on, and not seeing Byum hiding in the stairs because he can see the creepy ghost in the hallway with them. After a brief period of complete turmoil, the lights begin to function regularly once more, and they learn that the assailant made a mistake by kidnapping Soo-jin rather than Yoon, who had never left her bedroom in the first place. On a warm spring day, remember the auditorium, Wang's group learns in the classroom. They entered the password, but it was already too late. They screech and flee until they finally meet up with Choi's group. Cha is dead, and the body and the rotting visage of a frightening woman are captured on camera. Everyone then makes their way to the cafeteria to eat. Aina realizes this when talking about the password's hint. Aina realizes this is related to her former best friend Jaewon. She used to be the top student in their class since she worked extremely hard to maintain her scholarship because her family couldn't afford to pay for her to attend this university. Everyone was startled to see Jaewon placed 6th when the rankings were announced one day following another significant exam, which meant she would have to vacate the residence after the following term. A couple of days later, Jaewon mysteriously turned up dead in the theater. Since ghosts don't exist, the students in the cafeteria start to worry if Ghost Ones is torturing them. This causes a visibly uncomfortable Wang to drop the subject. A melody heralding the following test begins playing somewhere in the building after Kim joins them for supper as well. While Choi, Aina, and Han follow the music to the staff room, where a challenge in the form of an anagram awaits them, Wang decides he's had enough and goes in search of the murderer. They must combine the images to build a new image of the school in order to figure it out. Before being placed inside a washing machine, the attacker also seriously hurts Soo-jin, but Hyun gets a matching image from the front desk to use as a reference while figuring out the jigsaw. The strategy is successful, and the solution is revealed to be, "I know who killed me. My rage will survive. Face the truth." In the meantime, Wang continues to notice shadows in the corner of his eyes and strange noises coming from outside. Wang is suddenly attacked and pushed away by an unknown force. He flees to a closet and struggles mightily to hold back his screams as a knife repeatedly stabs the door. Fortunately, the attacker leaves, allowing Wang to finally flee. He runs into Choi and the teenagers while leaving. Before they can exchange information, they start to hear a washing machine beeping, which they track to learn it is signaling the end of its cycle. Inside, Soo-jin lies dead. Choi is more sure that this is connected to Jae-won now, but when she turns to Aina for her opinion, she finds her gone. In the cafeteria, Yoon realizes everyone around her has abruptly fallen asleep, but instead of worrying about what it may mean, she puts on the headphones of her music player to distract herself. This results in Yoon not hearing the decaying woman approaching her from behind to kidnap her properly this time. At the same time in the dorms, Aina follows a mysterious whisper until she finds the creepy girl from her dreams, drawing on the doodles Byum made earlier. The ghost tries to grab Aina and makes her scream, but by the time the teachers and Han find her, the creepy girl is gone. Now they need to think of a serious plan, so Wang asks Hyun how he pulled off the prank last time. Following the boy's explanation of the connections he established, the party visits the PA room where they discover the cable that connects all the screens in the school. They then track this wire underground to see if it may lead them to the unsettling woman. But Byum is the first person they come across, and as soon as he sees Aina, he attacks her without hesitation. Han leads to I defense Nez without hesitation as well, but during the battle, Byum stabs him to death before turning to Aina once more. This time, Wang is the one to stop Byum, and in a fit of rage, he strikes Byum many times to death. The melody heralding a new riddle plays again, so there is no time to mourn. This time accompanied by Yoon's yelling. The commotion leads Aina and the teachers into a hallway with a closed door at the end. In order to unlock the door, they must complete the exercise printed on it. Yoon is dangling from her ankle behind this door, watching a dead man float by while a candle burns the rope holding her up. Fortunately, Choi understands the required algebra and finds the combination number right away, enabling them to open the door and dash inside. Aina cuddles Yoon to help her through her panic, while Wang attempts to figure out how to let her down securely. Choi finds a collection of paper sheets with all the tests written on them. Sadly, despite the fact that they succeeded in passing the exam, the eerie woman still lifts Yoon before letting her fall, killing her as soon as she touches the ground. Wang climbs the stairs after spotting steps leading to the roof and encounters the unsettling woman, who attempts to stab him. Fortunately, Wang responds quickly and fights back, killing the woman after a struggle and putting an end to everything. A memorial service for the deceased pupils is held in the auditorium later. Aina seeks relief from the excruciating pain on the roof, where she is startled to discover the paper sheets with the test plans. A photograph of Jae-won and her family reveals that her parents were the unsettling woman and Kim, the security guard, which is an even larger surprise. Speaking about Kim, he pounces on Aina and kidnaps her, demonstrating that he has been collaborating with his wife the entire time and that he wants to see their plan through to completion. Kim ties Aina to a chair and starts to speak through the speakers, while also gassing up the theater. He acknowledges being father once and says he's glad all the wealthy parents now understand the misery he's been going through for the past 2 years. Then he begs the murderer to come forward while playing a recording of Jai-won being murdered that he had discovered on her phone on a large stage screen. It is revealed that Hwang was the one who killed Jai-won, as everyone in the auditorium scrambles to avoid being in the presence of a murderer. It turned out that just 6th place one's finish was entirely the result of Hwang being paid by the wealthy parents to give their children better scores. She approached Hwang and threatened to report him to the principal if he didn't put things right. Hwang responded by killing her. Byum, who chose to observe rather than assist, had witnessed everything, and ever since then, he has assumed Ji-won has followed him around. Hwang becomes irrational when he is cornered in the auditorium, taking the rescue axe from the wall and yelling threats at anyone who approaches. But before he can hurt anyone, Kim arrives and exacts revenge by stealing the axe from Hwang and slowly killing him with it while disregarded the teacher's apology. According to Kim's flashbacks, he killed the first guard to get the job, indicating that he has been planning this since Jai-won's passing 2 years ago. Choi rushes out of the auditorium to save Aina when she notices Kim is nearby. Aina is happy to see she placed first when she checks the student ranking a few weeks later. She then turns around, but her face and Ji-won's merge into one, giving the impression that she may have been possessed the entire time, which is why Byum kept attacking her.